new season means new goals, new dreams, new accomplishments, new helping others. And feel like every day is an opportunity to help someone. And the guest here is going to school us on helping. This lady has been all over SI. Many people have homes in New York, not just Staten Island, because of this lady. She's been killing it. I'm grateful that she even had time to make this show today. So I really want to welcome Erica Orlando to the Make Park Radio, Type 88. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm excited to be here.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah.
So I'm used to seeing you at Cornerstone, always
Yes.
just on the phones and running out to have meetings and always out helping people.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people tell me they never see me in the office. That's because I'm always out running around, meeting people, talking to people, and like you said, helping people every single day, doing either something that they need to get done in their business or in their daily lives. So I'm out there.
That's really awesome. So I know the beginning of your journey in terms of like just like work and stuff. I know you started as a teacher.
Yes.
So maybe you could kind of tell us how you even got into that and
Yeah.
where that even started.
Sure. So it really all started because my parents were involved with the Board of Education. So it was something that I grew up with. My dad was an assistant principal for many years, all throughout Brooklyn high schools. And, it goes back to something they did back in the day that they still have a little bit today, but it was Bring Your Daughter to Work Day.
Yeah.
And it really had a big effect on me. And seeing my dad going to work, and I was meeting all the teachers, I met the principal, and I was like, wow, like, this is great. This is something that I could see myself doing later on down the line. My mom works in Utrecht High School in Brooklyn,
Nice.
so I'd visit her at work too. And when I was little, I was a monitor when I was in the fourth grade. And I remember there was this one little boy who was in the first grade. And instead of playing at lunchtime, I offered to help him with his math because he was struggling. And I was pretty good with my math at the time. So I was like, let me see what I could do. Let me see if I could help him out. And so we were in the schoolyard. It was during recess. And I pulled him over to the side and we had all our books out. And I taught him how to do something that he didn't know how to do. And it sounds so minuscule, but in that moment, I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful in a sense that you can do something to help somebody else that can change their life. And so that was a feeling that just stuck with me. And it was something I wanted to continue to do as I got older, was help people and especially kids to learn.
Wow. So that's cool. So it literally started when you were a student
Yes.
helping another student.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said both your parents were teachers, right?
So my dad was assistant principal.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
And he was at John Dewey High School and Robeson and a bunch of other high schools that he worked in. And my mom is actually the assistant to the principal at Utrecht.
There you go. Oh,
Yeah.
they're teamwork wherever they go. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, it was something that I grew up with, and it just helping that kid that day kind of led me down that road. So
That's really cool because growing up my whole life, my dad, he's a teacher. And he's always been like, that's really been his number one suggested job to me or career. He's like, Dave, you should be a teacher. You should be a teacher. You get the summers off. You get the weekends. You get retirement. You get all this stuff. And I didn't necessarily take that path exactly, but I don't know if I didn't because he was so pushy to it. I think I really didn't do it, Erica, because I just had other dreams that really called me, and I just chased them. But him telling me to be a teacher always stuck with me, too. I'm like, you know what? I still want to teach. I still want to help the youth and stuff like that. So I'm very blessed to be able to do that. So maybe you could kind of tell me, like, because being a teacher, for the most part, it's a pretty secure career once you kind of get your tenure and things are locked in place. And then you kind of took a jump to a whole other business and a whole other path and career that I know a lot of teachers, once they're in, they're like, yo, this is the team I'm on. I'm locked in. I'm not going anywhere for 20 something years.
Hmm.
Maybe you could kind of tell us about how you took the jump into a whole new career path from being a teacher.
Yeah, sure. So when I was teaching, it was a great career for me. And I worked with a lot of great teachers, a lot of fantastic administrators. And, we earned the number one test scores in the city. We were in the New York Times, and we
Awesome.
really achieved a level of greatness that the teachers that are still there today are continuing the hustle and really helping these kids to an extraordinary level. And the way that they help them is amazing, because I've been in other schools throughout the city and nothing compares. But I mean, I see what they do every day, how hard they work. And like you said, summers off, that was something that we didn't do. I worked summer school, I
Mm.
worked Saturday school, I worked the after school program, I worked the latchkey program. So I was in the school
Oh,
six
wow.
days a week, sometimes till, 6, 7 o'clock at night. And I was putting a lot of hours in, and it was great, but I kind of got to a point where everybody was saying, well, what's next for you? Are you going to become an assistant principal? Are you going to become a principal? And I didn't really see myself in that position. Wasn't something I really wanted to do. I liked working with the kids. And at the time, I got pregnant with my daughter,
Mm.
and I was home, and I'd be up early on Saturdays eating breakfast, and I was watching this show called Open House on
Yeah.
NBC, and I loved it. And I've always been very into architecture and interior design, something that always, caught my eye. And I would watch this woman go into these houses and look at the architecture and, see how they were decorated, and I just loved it. I loved that atmosphere, and I wanted to be in those houses, and I wanted to help design them. And so I was like, you know what? I think maybe real estate might be something that I would enjoy. And so I started talking to other people about it, and they kind of said the same thing that you said, well, it's a secure job teaching, and you have a pension, and you're tenured, and, why would you want to leave something that's so secure for something that's not secure? But something just kept pulling at my heartstrings. And
Mm.
my classroom actually overlooked the New York City skyline, because I taught in Sunset Park in
Oh,
Brooklyn.
nice.
And I would look out the window every day at the buildings, and it was just calling me. Like, I knew that's where I had to be. So when I was going to have my daughter, I got into all these different sessions that they were having about what are you going to do when you're on your child's care leave. And they said, you can't work full time, but you can work just, part time. And I'm thinking to myself, well, real estate doesn't have a set amount of hours.
Yeah, yeah.
So technically, I could probably do real estate. And I asked, and they said, yeah, I don't think that's a problem. So I was like, wow, it's almost like things are meant to be, And I
Yep.
was like, you know what? At least I have this opportunity to try real estate. And then if it doesn't work out, I could always go back to teaching. And so I literally had my daughter April 27th, and July 12th was my first day working in Manhattan in real estate. So
Wow.
I was out there running, and I just fell in love with it. And I tried to teach part time after the fact. I did part time real estate, part time teaching. And then I was just like, you know what? I have to make a decision. It's one or the other.
Mm.
And I fell in love with the real estate and never looked back. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how I got there.
That's amazing. Because I'm big on calling. I've been really pushing that whole idea lately. When you have a calling, are you gonna pick up? Are you gonna answer?
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, I'm like, we answer calls to phone numbers we do not know, but we do not answer our own calling.
Mm,
And
I like that.
we only really get, how many times is it going to call before, we hang up, and then before you know it, it's like, oh, well, I have 3 kids now. I have to keep this job because it's
Mm-hmm.
this. Or then there's always that thing that gets in the way of the thing. And then before you know it, you're looking back and was like, well, I'm very happy with my life, but what could have happened?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really great that you caught it mid-call, like early on in the calling, and you answered,
Mm-hmm.
and then you ran with it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I spoke to my grandmother about it, and she said to me, well, you know what? You have that nature. You are meant to help people. And she said, real estate, you're still helping, you know? When you're
Hmm.
teaching, you're helping kids, but with the real estate, you're just helping adults. So you're still staying true to your calling. It's just a different kind.
And it's amazing because when I think of getting a home, I think of it's when I have a family. So you're really you're helping someone pave the way for their family and kids. And it's great that you've been in different schools, you know neighborhoods. It just kind of like just that awareness just ties into your next move, and then you've been just running with it. So it's great to see
Yeah.
every time on Instagram I see you doing a talk or getting an award or being announced the head of something.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome to watch.
Yeah, I've definitely tried to be as involved in as many things as I possibly could be. And, just like you mentioned, I've been in so many different areas that I find that to be helpful to relating to people because I grew up in Brooklyn, in Ziker Heights. Shout out to Brooklyn.
Shout out.
And when I was in Brooklyn, I loved it. My heart was there. But, it came time to move to Staten Island. And I was like, you know what? I'll always love Brooklyn. I'll always have my heart. But, on to a new chapter, new journey. And so a lot of times when people are in Staten Island with me and we're looking at houses and they're telling me, oh, yeah, we live in Brooklyn. It's like, oh, my goodness, what part are you from? And so I can relate to them. And I know what that feels like to have to leave Brooklyn behind and move over the bridge.
Mm,
But, I relate to them and I help to make them feel a little bit more comfortable at the move because, for me, it was a great move and I'm very happy here. And so I reassure them, like, don't worry, I know it's scary, but it's going to be great and you're going to love it.
you're in the shoes that they're about to walk in soon. You've felt the pain because there's just a whole different vibe in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
but there's really nothing like the borough that we're in too. So it's like
Yeah.
wherever you go, there's something really awesome, and it's great that you've crossed the bridge, so you know what it's like, so you could help other people do the same,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's really awesome. And so that's cool. So were you met with like any doubters or people being like, why are you taking this jump to real estate, like, or was it supported?
Oh, absolutely. In the
Because
beginning, it was very difficult. I think that people, it wasn't necessarily that they were doubting me because I think everyone knew that I'm the kind of person that, I truly believe that if somebody else in this world can do it, then anybody could do it. We're all made equally. Everybody's exactly the same. Nobody's any better than you. So if they could do it, you can too. So I think everybody believed in me that I would put my all into it and I would, make the best of it. But I think it was just more of them being worried and, cautious and, making sure that they were taking care of me. And so I think it was hard for some people to kind of let me go and try something new that wasn't so secure. I think that made them nervous. But, I showed all of these people every single day that, what, look what I've done. And you can achieve your goals and your dreams and don't ever give up on them because it is truly possible.
it's so true. I was telling a young man the other day, he was telling me, he was like, Dave, I really want to go get an apartment with my girlfriend. It's this much. And he was telling me, well, he's like, I make this. And I was like, that's good, man, but you really got to put the input in to get the output back. Like, if you want good luck or if you want good things to happen to you, you can't be working 15 hours a week, 5 hours a week, and expecting to be able to pull in all these new things. And like, so he was like, yeah, he's like, it's true. I got to work at least 40 to 50 um, based on his hourly rate. He was like, I need this for this. And you seem to really, like, even as a teacher, like, you really didn't even take any days off.
Mm-hmm.
So like you created your own luck. You weren't like hoping that someone knock on your door. It looks like you just go out and you knock on doors when no one's knocking, and you
Yeah.
just go out and make it happen. And how do you keep yourself motivated? Because I think a lot of people could kind of get down on themselves if, especially in a world of sales or a world of where you don't know your the number on your check, but yet you have people to feed. Like, how do you kind of keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, so it definitely does get hard. Sometimes it's a roller coaster, especially in real estate, but I always try to focus on the end. Like, you know what? This is just a hurdle and I just need to jump over this and keep going, because if you allow yourself to sit in that state of, woe is me and you're down, you're going to let all these opportunities pass you by. So you really need to just stay focused and keep going, keep trucking, and you know what? Work even harder. If you lose one deal, then you better go out and get two more. And that's how I was trained. I remember my manager in the city telling me that, like, you lose one deal, you go out, you get two more. And so that's how I've always just focused. And I also, it's not something that just comes intrinsically to me. I do listen to a lot of motivational speakers throughout the day. I start off my morning, every morning, listening to Tony Robbins. So, I turn on YouTube, put him on, and I just listen to him and have in my head. I actually attended one of his events a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was a 4-day event, and it changed my life. I'm a fire walker, I could say officially. So,
Wow.
listening to him has really helped me. And I think, it's if it's something that you truly want, then you can't give up. And I think that's where the passion comes from on the inside. Like, I'm not a quitter, like I won't take no for an answer. And ever since I was a kid, I was kind of one of those kids that, if I started something, I wouldn't stop until I got it. Even if it was a puzzle, if it was, a word search, if it was a game, like I would just keep going, keep going, keep going, never give up until I get it. And I feel like that's kind of how I am in my business too. So, what, this didn't work out, or I got to try this, or, we're having trouble here, so let's do this. And there's always another way. If path A doesn't work, go to path B. And if path B, then path C. So
There you go. Relentless
yeah.
and resilient. And I've been doing sales for a really long time. I sold cookware, and when I was 19, people were like, you sell pots, and it was just like, to me it was just different. But to me, I was like, okay, well, I could sell a $3,000 set of pots and make $600 in a weekend, or I could work at a pizzeria and I would make that in the whole month. And I was like, you know what, like, but what was really cool about it, when I was doing it and I was helping people eat healthier, and I saw the difference that I was making, it was a similar maybe vibe that you got when you helped that kid when you were a kid. I was like, oh, it's not just me selling some pots and me getting paid. I'm actually helping these people cook better. I'm actually helping them feed their kids. I'm helping them save time. So, like, helping is just, it just keeps coming back, and it's so important. And it's really great that's the topic of our convo. And how could, maybe just a question, how could you help someone that's maybe like, who needs help, and they're like, how do they even get out of like a tough place? Like, what would you recommend for someone to help themselves?
So I'm a true believer in talking about how you're feeling. Definitely reach out to somebody, let them know that you're having a problem, because there's so many people out there that are going through similar situations that you probably don't even know about. And that's, one thing I've always believed is, I've gone through quite a bit in my life that most people don't really know. They see me smiling, they see me happy, and they would never know. But, I've always believed that I've gone through the things that I've gone through so that I can help other people that are going through the same exact thing. So there are a lot of other people out there that are going through it. And, you can definitely talk to somebody, call a friend. There's groups online, listen to podcasts, go on YouTube. There's so many ways that you can help yourself, but just don't be afraid to ask for the help. I think that's super important. A lot of times people are afraid to ask for it, but I would say that's, one of my number one pieces of advice is ask for the help.
I'm all for that. I talk through it, I walk through it, and it helps so much. Like, I'll talk to my girl, I'll talk to my mom, I'll talk to my best friends. Even doing this show and just hearing people stories, and a lot of the time this is sometimes the only conversation I have with a lot of the people that are on this show. Like, we'll say hi and bye, but just kind of talking it out and like learning about things, it sparks something else. And I I'm not good with keeping things in. Like if I'm dealing with something and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm totally all for that, and I completely agree. That's a big help.
Yeah, that's important. Sometimes you keep it inside and it could literally eat you alive. So let it out and just ask for the help when you need it.
That's amazing. And so you're big on helping others.
Mm-hmm.
Who could you say has been a help to you on your journey and your path? Because you said something about reaching out to people. Like
Mm-hmm.
who are some people that have helped you along your path?
There's so many people.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, there was one teacher that was really there for me, and I had a tremendous amount of respect for him. And then I remember on my graduation day, he turned to me and he just said to me, "I respect you so much." And I couldn't believe he said that. And I was just like, wow, that's incredible, because here I am thinking he's helping me so much. And in some way,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up helping him to see something. But, so teachers that I've had, my brokers that have guided me along the way. I'll never forget my broker in the city. At one point, he was like, you're doing this thing where you're walking around the pool, but you're not jumping in. You got to jump in, just do
Yep.
it. And I never forgot that he said that. So it's something I keep in the back of my head, that sometimes I have to just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So my manager in the city, he was fantastic. Gary, thank you for everything if you're listening. But he really also helped guide me in this career. My brokers here in Staten Island, Amory, she, when I was working in the city initially, and I wasn't really sure if I should come to Staten Island. I lived here, but she, was like, come to Staten Island, do real estate here. So I owe that to her for making me make the jump. And she guided me along the way, told me everything I know here. And, my broker now, he's been supporting me the whole time, making sure that I know, the ins and the outs of the industry, the market, staying on top of me, pushing me and holding me accountable. I really needed that. So I thank him for that too. And then, of course, there's my partner, Frank.
Shout
I
out to
would not
him.
be able
Yeah.
to do what I do without him. He has definitely guided me and helped me in areas. We balance each other out, things that I'm not great at, he's there for. So he definitely helps me. And, I think everybody in my life has really helped me in some form of a way. Everybody says that people come in and out of your life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that everybody in your life is there to help you or play some kind of a role and get you to the next level. So
That's amazing. Shout out to everyone that's helped you, because you're out there really helping others, and it's like a cycle of helping. It's just like really cool to watch,
yeah.
and that's awesome. That's really great.
Yeah, it's great. And then like there's that aspect of it, and I think the family support has been incredibly helpful, because if they didn't support me, then I wouldn't be able to do this either. Because in the beginning, it's not easy. You got to get your feet wet. You got to get started and build, and it's like that snowball. You're
Mm-hmm.
pushing it, and then it finally starts rolling. So, and my kids are my why. I look at them every day, and it tells me, like, why am I doing this? And I'm doing it for them. So they help me in that aspect, of pushing me every day. I come home, I look at them, and it's like, all right, I'm doing it for a reason. This is all worth it. And I want to give them so much more, than I ever had. And, I'm lucky my boyfriend, he's in the business, so he
That's
helps
awesome.
me tremendously too. Yeah. So it's, it's everybody, I think, plays a little role. So,
That's amazing. That's so great. So from, you know, in our lives, we talk to so many people. So many people. We help others. They help us. What's I know you were saying something about jumping in the pool or whatever.
mm.
Could you remember the best advice maybe that you've ever received along your journey in either teaching or real estate or just life in general?
Yeah, when I was little, my dad used to drill something into my head all the time. And when I was teaching, I used to write it on my chalkboard and tell my kids the same thing. And I tell my kids now, my kids, and hard work plus dedication equals success. That's the
Mm,
formula. That's it. My father always told me, if you work hard and you dedicate yourself, you will be successful. That's it. That's the key to life. Just work really hard, dedicate yourself to it, don't give up, and the success will follow. So if it weren't for him building that, into my head every day and, telling me that. And it's funny because sometimes I see some of my former students and they're like, Miss Orlando, hard work plus dedication equals success. And I'm like, yep, good. See? Now you go spread that word and let your kids know one day. So hopefully everybody kind of follows that mentality. And, I read this great book. It was called Mindset. And it was all about, the growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so important to, realize that there is no brick wall, like you try something, it doesn't work out. You just keep going, keep working hard, dedicate yourself and you will be successful.
That's awesome. So in terms of helping, there's a couple of Erica facts that you've told me about. In terms of helping, you've got a lot of accolades growing up, even from 5th grade.
Yeah.
You got an award in 5th grade for service. I didn't even know they give those. Like, so how did that feel as a kid to get an award for that?
You know what? It was funny because I didn't even know I was getting it. I was sitting with my graduating class and we had the pamphlet, so we kind of knew who was getting an award for what. And all of a sudden, they called my name. And I was like, wait a second, what's going on? I had no idea.
It wasn't like the Grammys where they,
yeah,
ahead of time?
No, I didn't have a speech ready or anything. So, I went up there and I accepted the award and it was for service. And that just made me feel so good because it's, you work hard to help people and you do it because you want to see them succeed, but you don't always think about how the other people are receiving it, like they really do appreciate it. And you don't always get that pat on the back all the time. Not everyone is going to tell you if you were helpful or say thank you. You do it more for yourself because, it's something you enjoy. Like I said, it's just natural, you don't think, okay, I'm going to go help this person. You just kind of do.
Yeah.
So I was just doing what I enjoyed doing. And apparently it came back, as them showing me that means something. And it was almost like an acknowledgement and kind of saying in a sense, like, keep doing it. Like, you're doing the right thing. You're doing a good job. So that was really cool.
That's amazing. That's so cool. We do a thing called Dreamer of the Month with my clothing brand. And a lot of the time, almost every time, we've just thrown people in a contest. And they're like, I didn't even know I was being nominated. And then they're like, I didn't know I was nominated, but then I wanted to win. And then when I won, it helped me so much. Like, sometimes just like someone believing in you just goes such a long way. Or like someone acknowledging, you're out there helping others. And then all of a sudden, like, you get blessed with the award and it just kind of starts this snowball effect of like positivity. You're like, oh damn. And then you start just connecting things, and then that's really cool.
Yeah.
How that happened.
Yeah.
And you got another award. You received a scholarship for service again in college. What college did you go to?
So I went to St. John's University in Staten Island.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was actually there yesterday for CareerCon, which was pretty cool because I
was bummed I missed that.
Yeah. So I got to, go back to my old stomping grounds, and it was really cool because, I went there to get my teaching degree. So, and then, I'm coming back, but in a totally different career with my real estate. But it was nice because, we were talking to kids that are in high school, and, it's such a crucial point in time when kids are trying to really figure out what they're going to do with their lives. And, with real estate especially, you don't always think of it as a first career. A lot of kids don't graduate high school going, yeah, I'm going to be a real estate agent. A lot of times it's something you fall back on as a second career in life. Like, you retire and you go on to that. Or, like in a position like me where I was doing something I loved, but I wanted to try something different, So it was really cool to kind of go back there for that. But, while I was there, it was just bringing me back to my college days, and I received the the service scholarship for things that I had done in high school. So, for example, I was on the leadership committee in high school, which
Oh yeah.
shout out to Mr. Lorenzano. I told it's funny. I saw him at
Was
CareerCon
that
last year.
75 you went to?
Yeah.
So
Well,
my dad actually taught at 75.
really?
Yeah.
So I saw Mr. Lorenzano, and he was my leadership teacher at Fort Hamilton High School, actually in
Oh, okay.
Brooklyn. And I saw him at CareerCon last year, and I was, I just want to let you know that being on the leadership committee, it really made a difference in my life. And I think that's so important to let people know when they've done something to really affect your life in a positive way. So, I let him know that, but I was on the leadership committee, and I think I just really enjoyed being behind the scenes in a sense, and putting things together and being able to make things happen that other people were attending. We would put together the school dances, and we would work backstage during the plays, and I really liked that. So that was one thing. Another thing was going and handing out water at the marathon, just little things to help out in the community. So just it was just another kind of eye-opener for me that all these things that you're just doing because you enjoy them can actually mean something more. And I wrote an essay just talking about some of the things that I've done in high school and, growing up. And I ended up getting the service scholarship to St. John's. So, wow.
That's a blessing. That's so cool. It's amazing. You're out there helping others, and then, all of a sudden, when you're not looking, boom, it just...
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really big on giving young people responsibilities and really just seeing how they run with it. And even if, like, just say, as a metaphor, like they're holding eggs and they drop them, they learn from that moment, So it's not like you're setting them up for failure. You're actually setting them up to learn something. You're giving them a chance to learn quicker than maybe if they had to find their own opportunity, start their own business, you know what I mean? So I'm really big on the companies that I have, giving young people, I'm like, all right, you run the block, you get the 15 articles, you reach out to the people to get the sales, and just really still being there to guide them, but just giving them that responsibility. As you see it, like it lit a fire under you. Like when you had the chance to be in the leadership committee, it gives you this like spark, and you're like, oh yeah, you're giving, you're handing me let me make this happen. And that's awesome.
Yeah, and it had an effect too, just even, I graduated high school, I went into college, but then when I graduated and I was teaching, it was something that I enjoyed, kind of getting together with the other teachers and sitting down and planning for the week and planning for the year, and all of us being able to be a part of that. So, it's nice to kind of have everybody's input and work together as a team. And, I'm big too on the whole, with kids making mistakes. I tell my kids all the time, it's okay to make a mistake as long as you learn from it, because you need that. You need that experience to help you throughout your whole entire life. So you hold on to those things. So, yeah, I feel the same way.
That's so cool. That's so awesome. And so you talked about the best advice that you have ever you've received, and you've been passing it along. Do you have a favorite quote or words of wisdom other than that one? That maybe you have like your own quote or one that you really run with?
Yeah. Well, if you ever email me, you'll see it in my signature of my email. But I have a quote from Aristotle there, and it says, "Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work." And I think that that's so important, to love what you do every single day. Find what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life, as they say, So like, I get up every morning, and I never tell my kids I have to go to work now. I always say, all right, guys, mommy's heading out. I have to go reach my goals, and I make them think, because I want them to know, like, I go out and I enjoy what I do. I hate when people say, like, oh, tomorrow's Monday, or, oh, I really don't want to go to work tomorrow. Like, that's terrible. Don't live your life like that. Find what makes you want to wake up on Monday morning and hit the pavement running and get out there and motivate you and give you that energy. Like, that's so important. So I feel like find the job that you love and do it and enjoy it. Sometimes you go and you can tell who the people are. You go somewhere and maybe you had a bad experience at a store or wherever you are, and you're like, wow, this person really doesn't like their job, and it's like you're not happy, but it transcends out. Other people feel that too, that energy that's going out there. So, but I think, I'll give you a quick example. The other day I went out to dinner on Saturday night. And the woman in the bathroom, she was the bathroom attendant. She was the happiest woman I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
She was like turning on the water. And, every time somebody used the bathroom, she would wipe down the seat. Hold on, don't we? And she just loved her job. And she was like, I love this. I love what I do. I talk to all these people. So, and it just made something so simple as using the restroom enjoyable because it was somebody in there that loved their job and loved what they do. So when you love your job and you love what you do and you really put that into the job that you're doing, everybody else feels that and they want to work with you and they enjoy it, and it becomes a great positive experience for everybody involved.
That's amazing. When I meet people, I always tell them, I'm like, your passion is so contagious. It's making me more passionate about the collaboration we're working on. The fact that you're that hype and that motivated by it, like, because sometimes we do something over and over. It's like, how do we bring that spark back too? And it's like when you work with someone, as you were telling me, you work with different people, and this person's is good at maybe what you need help with, or maybe you complement each other. Just being around passionate people, it's just inspiring.
Yeah, it's funny because I walked into the office today and one of my coworkers was like, every time you come in here, you always have a huge smile on your face. And I was like, that's funny. I guess I don't notice these things, but it's true. I mean, I go into the office and it's my happy place. I love being around these people and working, and I love what I do. And, as stressful, it was... For me, it's like, sometimes you get really stressed out and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. But for me, that never happened with real estate. Like, I get stressed out. It drives me crazy, but I love it so much. And I do have such a passion for it that I just, I still enjoy it despite how, tough it can get or how crazy it can be.
Yeah, and you learn, I could just tell by the way you look at things. It's like, all right, I'm learning. This isn't the end. I'm gonna keep going. I'm dedicated. There's no ending if you're not quitting. And you get through the bad times, and you go up and down the mountains. And the mountain isn't straight. It starts low, goes high, goes low. Then there's another one. And that's really just how life is. And it's like, and you're resilient and you're relentless with what you're doing, and you're passionate. There's really no way to lose, and that's amazing. That's great to hear, and that's a great example for the youth. You said how many kids do you have?
I have two.
Oh, that's
kids.
A blessing.
I have my daughter Juliana and my son Declan, and I'm big on that with them, And my daughter, one time she was talking to my son about something, and she goes, "No, Declan, you can't give up. We don't give up. We never quit." And I was just like,
wow.
Yes. They hear me. They understand me. It's working. That's great. And then, my son, I think it was like a month ago, he was working on something, and he's like, "Nope, Mommy, I'm not stopping because we never quit, right? We never quit." And I said, "Nope, we never quit." So I really try to teach that to them too, and make sure that they carry that through life, because like I said, I think that's the key to success. Just keep going and never give up. And even it's funny now, I told my daughter the story about how I was a monitor when I was in elementary school and I loved to help, and the other day I picked her up from the latchkey program, and one of the teachers came to me and she's like, "I just want to let you know that Juliana was so helpful today. She helped me help the kids with all of their homework."
Wow.
So, it's amazing. Like, you never really realize how what you're doing is inspiring the people around you. And they always say, sometimes it's not what you say, but it's what you do.
It's what you do.
And
exactly.
Maybe they look like they're not listening, but they're watching. And they're watching what you do. So I think that's important, to be a good example to everybody. And if you live the life that you want others to live, then they'll follow.
That's so true. Because I growing up, I would just see my dad always working, And it was like the perfect example for me to be like, it was interesting because I saw the combination. I saw my mom being available for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it, like a pin drops, like she was there to catch it, like a second later.
Yeah.
And my dad, I have friends that were like, my dad wasn't around, and like it ends there. But I'm like, my dad wasn't around a lot of the time because he was, he's busting his ass, working super hard. He
Mm-hmm.
had that hour for dinner with us, but then he had to go to Broadway. Then he
Mm-hmm.
had to wake up and teach again at IS-75. And then he came home, he was making reads. And like just seeing him do that and then seeing my mom be there, I was like, I want to be a mix of both of them.
Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
be available. I want to like kind of set my own schedule where I'm home with my family
Mm-hmm.
whenever, but I want to kill it like my dad and work that hard like him. And if I could blend both of those lives, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. See, and you just learn by watching. And I mean, my dad was the same way. He taught day school and then he taught night school.
mm,
So he was working a lot. My mom was home with us, and like you said, it's nice to kind of be a mixture. And I think that real estate gives me that opportunity because the hours are so flexible. And that was another big reason, when I was leaving teaching, I was like, well, this is, I can take my kids to school in the morning. I can pick them up from school.
it's
If
a
they have a
blessing.
class trip, I could go on it with them. So I can work really, really hard and achieve, whatever goal I set for myself monetarily. But then I also can still spend the time with the kids that I want to spend with them. And that's really important to me too. And I think, like I said, your whys in life are going to guide you. And for me, my big why was my kids and making sure that I'm there for them, and but still working hard to provide for them at the same time.
That's amazing. That's a blessing, and it's great. Your influence is shining to them, and that's so cool to hear that story about Latchkey.
Yeah.
Juliana just and that's just like you could never even put a price on that. It's just like the most priceless thing
Mm-hmm.
in life, and that's such a beautiful story.
Oh, thanks.
That's so it's great just talking about all this stuff, and I think the more from this episode, I really just it inspired me to want to help more people too, and you know people tell me I do help, but that's kind of been my goal even more this year. It's like, how could I bless someone, and if they're calling me, it doesn't have to be a consulting call, you know what I mean, or like I'm on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm on God's clock, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like if I'm answering my calling, he got me. I don't need to worry about 75 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So people have just reached out this year, and I really made it an effort. Like, eh, I just want to help. I just want to help this person. I don't want to be like, I don't want the hourly rate to get in the way
Mm-hmm.
of a blessing someone. And it's been an amazing year so far, and it's only March. I see you killing it. I know this is your year, and all the helping is making a big difference. So I really applaud what you're doing. Keep up the amazing work.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. I appreciate that. And, I think what's important is if you see, like, I look at sales not as I'm selling, but as I'm serving. And I'm out there to help people, to serve them. And, when I call people, it's not like, hey, I want to, make some money. It's how can I help you? What do you need? What can I do to assist you? Is it my marketing that's going to get your house sold? Is it, me guiding you through the process, from making an offer to closing? What can I do to help you with this process, whether you're selling your house or making a purchase? And I think that whatever you put out, I'm a true believer in karma, and I think all the good that you put out there comes back to you. As long, like, you got to do it because you want to and because you enjoy it, not because you're looking for what's going to come out of it. So
Exactly.
I think, like you said, you're not on the clock, you're not looking for a payment, you're not looking for anything to come back to you. You're just doing it because you want to help people. And, helping people can be so simple as, your friend starts a new business,
Hmm.
and go on Instagram and post about their business, lead people there. Just little things in life that you can do to help one another. That it doesn't have to be so hard. You can really help people in very simple ways, and just give
Hmm.
them a call. Hey, what can I do to help you? Because a lot of times people, like, we talked about it before, like, get out there and ask somebody for help. A lot of people don't want to ask.
Mm.
So sometimes it's a good thing to either just offer things, or ask them how you can help them.
So true, so real. It was great having you on this episode. Maybe you could just let people know your website or social media or any way that they could connect with you, and if they need help with, if they need help.
Yeah, definitely. So, you can find me on Facebook, Erica Orlando. I'm also on Instagram. You'll find me at Erica Orlando, NYCNJ, because I service both New York City and New Jersey. And, if you ever need to give me a call, you can call me on my cell phone. You can email me, text me. I'm always around, and I'm not on the clock. So, you got a question, give me a buzz, and I'm happy to guide you.
Thank you for being part of Type 88. This is definitely your year. The helping is contagious, and we wish you nothing but the best. You're always welcome back, and don't stop dreaming.